This is very important because we know the outcomes of patients that have been treated with ibrutinib and what happens with them afterwards, but we haven't heard of what happens with people that have been treated with adalimumab that had been on the original trial. So our center did the follow-up on these patients to study what happened with these patients before and after the availability of a drug such as ibrutinib. So on patients that were progressors that eventually ended up not having access to a drug such as ibrutinib because they were not eligible for a clinical trial or because the drug was not available, their median overall survival was only 4.5 months. However, in the patients that were eligible to participate in an ibrutinib trial or that had the access to a drug such as ibrutinib, the median progression-free survival is still not achieved, even after a long-term follow-up, which shows to us that you can actually use a different B-cell receptor inhibitor once you have stopped responding to a drug such as idelalisib. In case that you had been receiving that, you can use it as a salvage therapy. The other thing we saw was that in the patients that developed colitis, which is one of the bad and difficult to treat events that essentially causes people to stop responding because they stop the drug. In these patients that developed the colitis that had to stop the drug, some of them actually were able to maintain the remission that they achieved with idelalisib and didn't require a therapy immediately. We have a couple of anecdotal cases where the patients have been off any therapy for over a year. And so that's how the curve of remission duration plateaus. And there's a couple of patients that just are there in a stable status quo. Where you may see some evidence of disease, but not enough to cause you to get another salvage therapy. So it's very interesting, all this, because we don't have that much data on sequencing and what drugs could we use or could we not use for salvaging our patients that have been using these new drugs.